Carl and Lou here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for short. And it's Freddy's Nightmares, an episodic recap. Season 2, episode 3, Welcome to Springwood, is in the title. So you might think, oh, well, that's a Freddy-centric episode, isn't it? No, we're well off that train now. That opening episode was an anomaly.
Just to get you back into it.
Yeah, we are well and truly off the train, as these two segments are both, I think, solid.
Yeah.
But one of them has a really mad... The first segment has such a mad ending.
Yeah.
That generally, it doesn't even make any sense.
No.
And it's such a twist.
Which I liked, but it didn't...
I won't complain.
Sense. Yeah.
Right, a bad twist is one that you can't see coming in the slightest because it's so off the beat. It's so off the wall.
Yeah.
And that's not a good twist. That's literally, there's no vibe. There's no vibe in segment 1 that ever made us think it was going to go in the direction it does. No. And you're like, wait, what? What? And you're like, right, we'll talk about the end because it's not spoiler free. But obviously it's an episodic recap rather than a talk through. So we'll get a little bit more into it. This is directed by Ken Wiederhorn and written by A.L. Katz and Gilbert Adler. With a cast, obviously Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger, but we've got Todd Allen as Turk. Leah Ayers as Roxanne Woodhouse, Michael Horton as Doug Woodhouse, Day Young as Emily Jameson, Camilla Ashland as Rose, Brenda Cooper as Jane, and Webster Williams as Gregory. A few more names in this one because it is a more spread out cast, particularly over the two segments. And so far, I think it's been good. I do want to say I still think this is a solid episode. I do think overall you can enjoy this one, and on the run that happened with season 2, it wasn't like oh my god, that was awful. It was more just like, it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Neither segment was as good. The second one's a little bit more frustrating character-wise.
Yeah, it's a bit more, what's the word, cliche
roles. Yeah.
It's a bit frustrating.
But the first one stars is surrounding Doug and Roxanne, who moved to Springwood while Doug's at work. So they moved to Springwood, new house, and Doug has to pop into work for some freaking reason, even on moving day. He's working at a new law office. Yeah. Roxanne begins to unpack, but she ends up discovering that there's a mix-up with the movers, and all the stuff all the boxes aren't theirs. Now, earlier on, we actually learn they do a surprising amount of information drop on her. Basically, she's on anxiety medication, what highly seems to be a high dosage as well. Yeah. Like, she needs to be on it. She wants to get it off it. He's not too sure about that, particularly as they're just moving somewhere new. And obviously, she doesn't want to be left alone, but he's got to pop into work and stuff like that. So we get a lot of info dump about her. We kind of see how quickly she can her anxiety ramps up. It's even just like the boxes being there, someone else freaks her out. Don't get me wrong, I do have sympathy. How frustrating, how annoying, and what a mix-up. Come on, man. Of course. But she decides to look for some of the boxes and ends up finding an interesting array of stuff, including a big-ass cachet case of knives and weapons, bloody dresses that are shredded. Seemingly, whoever owns these boxes is not necessarily the nicest person. Then things kind of go off the rails a little bit here, where basically she constantly seems to be dreaming here and there, like falling. And I get it. She's just sort of around the house and bored. We see her drinking wine at some stage, which obviously, and it's not stated out, but when you think about it afterwards, well, she's on diet medication and drinking wine as well.
Yeah, she's going to be.
Yeah, so she's going to be in and out of it and so on. So she has several different dream sequences. Some elements surround the movers. One of the movers, who's kind of like your cliche. I don't know what you'd call about him. Like New Yorker kind of bloke, like that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, like you've signed for this, or what's in it for me?
Like he's constantly trying to put the moves on. He's interesting, right? Because he's the link between the two episodes, right? In a very lazy way, but. He isn't. What's annoying is that he isn't. He just kind of. He won't take no for an answer, but he's not in an overtly aggressive way.
Yeah.
He frustrated us in the second half because in the first we were like, all right, he's been told no, and he just goes, that kind of thing. Dude's still a dick for behaving like that. But the second one, he's a little bit more like he won't take no for an answer, and it's a bit frustrating. Yeah. Where it's like, don't be that guy, dude. Come on, man, seriously. But he's the link between the two. Good actor though. I thought he did the role well because it's so cliche. He did stand out on the screen. But mainly the segments surround her dreaming of who the owner of the possessions are. Yeah. And she pictures this. He's got a very gravelly voice.
Very odd looking.
Like not quite Buffalo Bill, not as deep as that, but on that same sort of wavelength.
I
Like,
find a bit like Phantasm-y.
well, the look, right? You're thinking of the tall man.
Yeah.
He's not as tall as that, but in the sense of how the hair is. So, like, he's basically he needs to cut his hair off. There's not much left going on there. He's a bit skinny and pale, and he's a little intimidating to a degree. To her, to me, it's really cheesy. I found him really cheesy, because, and that's the thing, but that works in the context of her dream, because he's all like, you shouldn't have opened the box. You ever see It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Think of Ryan. That, but like an evil, like serial, it's like that kind of level of like cheesiness coming across. But basically, it turns quite ridiculous at the end.
Yeah.
Because she just wants... Every time she wakes up, she's freaking out and upset. She's calling her husband. She says, look, I want it sorted. The movies can't sort it till tomorrow because they're closed. All this nonsense and stuff. And she's like, no, I want it sorted. So she decides, I'm going to go to this other person's house.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get our boxes and stuff like that. She's getting a bit manic. I think she's not thinking straight and so on. The husband's with her and so on. When they get to this other house, things take a bit of a ridiculous twist. And the first clue is like the mover's kind of like there. And he's told to go away, and he's like, "Well, he's like, oh, right, I'm done with this." And she's like, "Why won't you help? Why won't you help?" And he's like, "Well, the owner says I have to leave." And she's like, "What do you mean, the owner?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Wait, what? The owner's our husband?" So basically, the twist is that it's revealed that her husband is the murderer. These are his boxes, and seemingly he bought two houses, one where he could keep his murder stuff, and that he's been killing his previous wives. Because there is a reference earlier on to the number of times he's been married.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm or something like that. Yeah. It is ridiculous. It comes out of nowhere. It makes no sense when you immediately pull a thread. You're like, what do you mean he buys two houses?
Yeah.
Like, do you mean like how has this never been known? All of this sort of stuff.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. And it's such an about turn. You're just like, oh, I don't know if I like that or if I don't. I'm still not sure if I like it or if I don't.
I like the idea that I would try and do something like trying to make it so different. But do it properly. Like,
I would have just done this. I would have kept it so simple. She's freaking out. She's panicking. She's, she goes there. The man she dreamed of is the owner of those boxes. And seeing him in the house, she sees him from behind. She freaks out and stabs him. But it turns out he was nobody mean. All his knives and stuff. He's a hunter.
Yeah.
A gamekeeper, skins animals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just that, and we see her being lowered into an ambulance, going off to a hospital to be committed. Yeah. Something as simple as that. Instead of this was a ridiculous twist.
Yeah.
The second one at least doesn't. Well, it does have a twist as well, but again, it does actually have a twist.
Yeah.
And it's not a great one either, but at least it's more sensible in the context of the story. Yeah. It's a lot weaker. It surrounds Emily, who's basically taking a new job at as a local university historian. You talk about filler scenes. This episode is filler. Yeah. Think about the scene twice we see it where she's just in her office sitting opposite the old man. What's it implying? That she's young and her life's boring? I guess that's what it's trying to do, hence why she gets so enamoured with the letters, because in her new apartment, she discovers 19th century love letters hidden behind a panel on a bookcase. And in those letters, she reads about a heated, torrid love affair between a married man and his mistress. Yes.
And
this is where it goes weird. It's just weird because she reads and becomes enamoured with these letters and this man as though it's a Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers. And we were just kind of like, but it's an affair.
Yeah.
Like, we couldn't understand why it was written as an affair either. Because even the ending could have worked with a love rival.
Yeah.
Rather than it being an affair.
Yeah.
Like another woman that absolutely adored him and hated that he was with, something like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because she starts to dream of this relationship and have her own role in it. It's very
stupid.
It's very stupid, and it's very Mills and Boon, those styles of books, in that there's no actual sex and stuff like that, but it's heated romance, and like she tells some of the stories to her, some of the things she's read to her neighbour, her older neighbour. We thought there was a twist there.
Yeah.
And we thought, how long ago was this? And is there a chance that maybe this is...
Neighbour
like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's way too early for that. It doesn't work. But, she's talking about, the stuff they got up to and stuff like that, and where they did it, and things like that. It's that level.
But her job as well makes it even more like, she's ridiculous. Like, she's a historian.
Yeah.
And you're acting like you're some sort of like romantic novelist, which I can get to more. I could get more if she was writing Mills and Boon, because she's involving herself in the roles, and all this is great inspiration.
Yeah.
But she's a historian.
There's how the story should have worked. She should have been a struggling writer, romantic novelist who's struggled to write and has moved somewhere to try and get, and this struggling to write, she gets inspiration from the story and it starts to come real. It's more like a soap opera, truth be told. She's very frustrating, particularly for some reason. She doesn't read all the letters at once. She reads them like a book where it's like chapter based, and she'll read a new one the next day and stuff like that. But this one ends so fucking abruptly. Yeah. It just ends in an ending that doesn't really work, as she ends up, I don't know, transporting into that reality and finding out that she's actually the other woman. She was the wife, and then ends up getting killed there and falling in her reality, falling to her death from from the bookshelf.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. It's not a great segment. It's still okay. It's still done well enough, and it's got a beginning, middle, and end. But as an overall episode compared to what we've got, it's just solid more than anything else. Episode 3. Welcome to Springwood of Season 2. You got any thoughts? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.